Hi everybody, welcome to Witchy Book Club. Sing-songing my way into this again. I hope that you all are having a good morning. I'm gonna wait for some people to show up to really get started here, but just if you're watching the playback, I have my second large cup of coffee. So I just got ready this morning and was watching Katie Flowers' live stream, and I was just living my best life. So hey queens, hey Angie, hey Imogen, hello to everybody just showing up. Hi Antonio, good morning Antonio. Hi Louise, hi again Imogen. Oh, looking gorgeous. Oh, thank you, thank you. Honestly, I wasn't gonna do my hair, but hi Donna. I was watching Katie Flowers' live stream and I was just sitting at my desk. I was like, I might as well make myself look presentable. Because I was not feeling it this morning. Hi Butterfly Magic with hot tea. How are you this morning? Just parked at my work's parking lot. Excited for this live stream. Yeah, I actually am really charged up today. I'm really excited to not read this book anymore. Hi Barefoot Taurus. Good morning. I can't stay long since I've been up all night, but hey girl, hey girl, hey. Miranda, hi there. Good morning. I'm giving myself a mani while watching. Isn't that the best? That's what I love live streams for, or long rambly videos. That's like my favorite. It's just to like do my chores, do my housework, or do something that I was going to be doing anyways, but have somebody talking in the background. It's just really soothing. And I know that in one of my latest videos I was talking about, oh, it's my shadow video, Meet My Shadow, where I was like, I talk too much, no one's going to want to watch this 2-hour live stream. Then when I think about it, like those are the videos that I put on randomly and love to just have in the background. I feel like I'm hanging out with that person. So what else did you say? Will I be alone in saying I skimmed through the last chapters? No, probably not. I don't think anybody's really been charged up about this book at all. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay Steele says, hi, greetings from Wyoming. I'm currently living in my van traveling the country. That sounds amazing. It's my B-day and I'm so excited to start my day with this live stream. Everybody say happy birthday to Lindsay. Happy birthday. You sound like you're living an adventurous, wonderful, magical life right now. Not going to lie, I'm super behind in this book. Yeah, I don't think this was, it was not my favorite. But I will continue to say what I've been saying every live stream since we started this, even though I'm not really fond of this particular book and I'm not really fond of this particular author and the way that he goes about writing things. To me, it comes off a little bit pretentious and it kind of is really like airy-fairy fluffy for me. It really did bring up, and it is bringing up, some really great conversations to have for Witchy Book Club. So even though it wasn't my favorite book, I definitely will be parting ways with it. You know, it's not awful. There's really great things to take from here. It really does make you think about certain topics in different ways. Also, Phoebe is joining us yet again at the end of the bed, and I am so pissed at her because I just got this new duvet cover for my bed, and I got some like really pretty pillows, and I've really been working on making my room like homey and nice and changing up the energy and the feel and the look to fit me and also be gender neutral for my boyfriend. And I was so excited, and I spent $90 on this duvet cover because our quilt is like extra big and long, so there's really like limited sizes. And she chewed a hole at the bottom already, and I was just livid. So I have got my one eye on her at all times right now. She's chilling, but okay, hold on. You guys are saying stuff. Happy birthday to Lindsay. Angie said my coworker heard. She said happy birthday, and happy birthday for me too. That's sweet. Miranda, question. Is the next book The Witch's Shield for Witchy Book Club? Because I'm about to order it. Yeah, so I'm going to go over that right now before we get into it, because some people can't stay, and I know a lot of people tune in so that they can, you know, catch up for next time, or if they didn't like this book or whatever, they want to just know what's next. Oh my god, I almost dumped my coffee all over the place. As you can see, I'm very amped up. I'm very excited. I have a lot I want to talk to you guys about, and I'm super, super pumped. So, no, you're not, I think it was Imogen who says if they skimmed the last of the book, or somebody said skimmed the rest of the book. No, I actually did read most of it, not all of it, but I did read more than I have in the last 2 live streams. And there's some good things I want to talk about. Plus, I pulled some cards from the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So talking about the book for next week and the next book that we will be starting, it is The Witch's Shield by Christopher Penczak. He has written a ton, I mean like a ton of books, and I think the list is right here. Like this is like all of the things. This is actually my first book by him that I'm going to be reading, so again, I don't know anything about this author, I don't know anything. You guys recommended it, and it was sent to me, gifted to me off my Amazon wish list. So I have been trying to pull books to read for you guys that most of you have been sending to me as gifts, and I think it's really nice to kind of, like, I want to read them anyways. Why not put them up for here? But I suggested this book last time, but I ended up picking this one. And so we're going to do this one now. I've heard a couple people say that they're having a hard time finding this book. The only place they can find it is off Amazon. I do see, or I did see the last time I went to check, that you can buy it used. It might take longer to get to you, but I think I found it for like $9 or something. Used, if you wanted to go that way. Also, you don't have to get the book to join in Witchy Book Club, but if you do want to, this book seems really interesting. Looks like it has a lot of really great information. So I will mention this again at the end of the live stream, but just so you guys know, we will be starting this next week, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our reading section for next week that we're diving into, that we will be going over the first section of this book, is going to be the introduction. Look, I'm so organized, I even paper clipped it. It's going to be the introduction, which is only a couple pages, but I feel like it's important to at least skim through the introduction so you can get a feel of the author, you know, their goals, why they wanted to read this, write the book and all that stuff. It's an 8-chapter book, and so I want to make this a 4-week live stream book. So we're going to be going over 2 chapters. So we're going to be going over the introduction and then chapter 1 and 2, and it goes from page 1 to page 42. So it's not so bad. And there's a lot of like images, and I think you can get through it pretty quickly, guys. So that's our book and our reading section for next week. It's going to be the introduction and chapters 1 and 2 of The Witch's Shield. If, I'm not reading comments right now, I will go back and read them. If you do want to get the book that's coming after this book, we're going to be going over a tarot book, and I'm so excited. I have read the book before, and it's Kitchen Table Tarot. I can't reach it or I will knock you guys over. It's Kitchen Table Tarot by Melissa Sanova. And it's hilarious and modern, and you can also find that on Amazon, plus I think other areas. That one might be easier to grab, like at a Barnes & Noble or something like that. But that will be the following book for the book club. Okay, so that is that. Let me catch up with the comments here. Sam said, sobs, I might have to miss most of this because the power is off in our office for at least the next 2 hours. Pray for me so I can go work from home. Yes. No, peeps, no. Okay, everyone. Sammy, hey, Katie. I was just talking about your fabulous live stream. I was getting ready to. Damn, girl, you looking good. Thank you. Hi, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. No, we're just talking about the book for next week. I don't know when everybody commented that. Hi, good morning, Danielle. I'm glad we will be reading that. Christine, I'm not sure which one you were talking about, but yeah, so that's the order. We're doing The Witch's Shield introduction, chapters 1 and 2 for next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we're going to be reading for 4 weeks for this book, breaking it down, and then we're going to be moving over to Kitchen Table Tarot by Melissa Sanova. I think it's nice to kind of give you guys like a heads up on what's going on. Anything by Christopher Penczak is awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. There's so many books, so I'm kind of surprised that I haven't delved into one yet, but we're going to do it together. And hopefully it's a lot better than this one. So the other thing I wanted to mention is that my live stream next week might be very exciting, or it might be, I'm not sure, because what's happening next week is that I am going to be going live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you will have to, on the 29th of July is the 24-hour Tarot-thon. I did mention this last week. Last week I mentioned this. I am a part of something really wonderful and magical. It's called the 24-hour Tarothon. It's starting at 10 a.m. London time and going till 10 a.m. the following day, London time. And there's, I think, 16 different channels. My time slot is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I believe for London time in the lineup, it's about 2:30 a.m. So you will have to kind of try and figure that out. There's been posts about it. You can just follow the hashtag 24-hour Tarothon. And so my homework, I'm going to tell you guys now because it's actually based around that live stream that I'm going to be doing. And the reason why I'm connecting this all together is one, to self-promote, and two, to let you know that I think that it's going to be like I'm live streaming at 9:30 p.m. and then the next morning is 9 a.m. Witchy Book Club kind of thing. I'm pretty sure that's how that works out. Let me just make sure. Let me go to my trusty little bullet journal here. My topic is, okay, Sunday, July 29th, I'm live streaming at 9:30 p.m. for this 24-hour live stream, and I'll be live streaming for about 90 minutes and then passing off the baton to another channel. And then the next morning at 9 a.m. is Witchy Book Club. So we will be starting the book still. I'll still be going live, but I might still be kind of like on a high from that the night before. I hope that you will all join in, or at least, you know, fancy the playback if you'd like, if it's like too weird of a time wherever you're at in the world. My homework for this week, since we're starting this, we're ending this and we're starting the new book, is about my 24-hour Tarothon live stream. So my theme, or my, you know, genre for the live stream is movies through the majors. I did not need a second cup of coffee, you guys. Movies through the majors. I really want to have fun with this. It's only 90 minutes, which is very hard for me to stick to. But so your homework is to make a list if you want, or even just to start thinking about it, of the 22 majors in the tarot system. So starting with the Fool and going through the 22, and to think about movies that relate to those cards. So that's kind of going to be the topic. We can go way off topic during the live stream, or we can literally just go down the list. I've started a list and I'm going to be having a couple different movies to talk about and why, and I'd love for you guys to present some movies to me, or even maybe characters in movies that you feel like really represent. Like I was thinking the other day about Pinocchio and how I wanted to relate that to the star card, but then I was thinking I was being more drawn to just Jiminy Cricket himself and how he represents the star card for me. And so I think that's going to be so fun. And so your homework is going to be, if you want, and you think you're going to join in on this Tarothon, to list out the 22 majors and kind of go through and think about some movies that relate, so that when you do come to the live stream, you can participate with me. Okay, do you think we should get started now? Shit, it's 13 and a half minutes and I'm still promoting myself. Yep, the current one dented my wall. Yep, we know this. Good, not great. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite, Rebecca. I agree. Oh my gosh, I made it to a live. I've been binge watching all your videos. Slow down, I don't need you to overdose, but thank you for joining. Hi, Heather. Good morning. Okay, so what do you guys think? Anybody want to share anything before we start? Oh, we should go off the homework from last week, and it was kind of like vague and I didn't really like state it that well. The homework was to be, we were talking about intentions, and I really don't want to go back into this again, but I did want to bring up to see if anyone thought about this or did some sort of thing surrounded the homework. It's about thinking about intentions and how you set intentions, whether consciously or subconsciously, as a child, and how raw and powerful you felt like it was before, and maybe how you set intentions now and the difference in which you see your intentions manifesting. And I was thinking about a couple different things from my childhood. One being more so when I was in high school and not, so I was kind of coming into adulthood, but I was having this conversation with my grandma because she's like so in love with the fact that I do these book clubs. And she's always, when I'm seeing her, she's always like, what'd you talk about in your book club? What was the homework? What was the homework? So I was talking to her about intention and how when we're children or how when we're younger, it's so much easier to see our intentions and to manifest things, because I feel as though we're not, you know, coaxed with all of these doubts and fears and insecurities as much as we are as adults. So I was talking to her about when I would audition for plays. So if you guys don't know, my first major in college was theater. And in high school, I was the lead, not to be cocky, but I was the lead in all of the plays, and I was the lead in one or two of the musicals. Well, one of the main or more main roles. I played Dorothy, and it was like a 300-person production, crazy thing with like a real dog, and it was videotaped. There's DVDs and all that stuff. So it was like a big deal. It's very embarrassing to look back on now, but it was my first like love of how to express myself other than writing and through journals and stuff. But where I'm going with this is that when I was setting intentions to get the lead or to get the role, my mindset was so pure and so, even though I was nervous and there was little bits of doubt and nerves in there, you know, my intentions and the way that I set that magic aflame was just knowing and seeing myself in the role before I had auditioned. And again, a lot of this is easier said than done, but a lot of the times when I am trying to intention set or to put forth, you know, drive in certain areas of my life, when I'm trying to manifest or use manifestation magic, I think back to this mindset and this energy that I had around getting the roles, and particularly the one that I thought I wasn't going to get, but I did think I was going to get, and which was Dorothy. So my high school that I went to was huge with choir. We traveled, you know, around the country and stuff in competitive dance and choir. And for like a decade, it was ritual that a senior got the lead. You know, it was like, okay, we're going to give the lead to a senior. At this point, they're probably the most developed and best for the role. Plus, they're going to be leaving, so we want to give them, you know, the lead. And it had been that way for like a decade, maybe even longer. But when they had announced that it was the Wizard of Oz, I was like, nope, I'm Dorothy. I have that role. I have that role. I don't care what it is. I don't care what, you know, how long it's been. I don't care how there's 10 years span or whatever. I will get it, and I will be the lead. And a little bit of me was like, no, but mostly how I set that intention was, instead of practicing to audition, when I had the lines, I was memorizing them. I was envisioning me blocking out my movements and the stage. You know, I was thinking in a I have this type of way. And obviously, like I said, I did get the role. But, you know, sometimes that doesn't work. But to me, it felt so pure and it felt so real, and it felt like such pure intention setting. And I think about now when I'm trying to intention set and I'm trying to manifest something, which are words we use so casually nowadays, especially in the spiritual community. But really, when I'm trying to create something, when I'm trying to bring something in my life, or when I'm trying to take myself down to a certain path, there's so much more doubt and insecurity and comparison and I don't deserve this and this. And where did I go from seeing myself as Dorothy and memorizing the lines before I even had the role, to holding myself back from opportunities and doubting myself out of the magic of manifestation? Where did these two things happen? And that was really what I was trying to get at with the homework. And what can I take from this more pure form from childhood or, you know, young adult life and bring forth into these things? And most of it is just that knowing, that affirmative feeling, that affirmative nature and power and kind of putting that forth and really letting go of all these fears and doubts and comparison and all of these things. So I think that's all I want to say about that. I mean, we could go into a few other examples, but I just want to check to see if there's any comments and what's going on. Oh no, you guys aren't commenting. Okay, that's great. Did I lose you? Or are you just listening to my passion rant about intention setting and everything? What do you guys think? Do you think that there's a difference between or do you see a shift in how you create things or how you try to manifest things in your adult life versus when you were younger or when you were a child? Setting a pure intention is also like having faith above reason. Yeah, exactly. And why is it so much harder now that we're adults? Or maybe you're not fully an adult yet. I don't know whoever's watching this, if you're watching the playback or what. And I'm not saying that if you're a child, you know, you're going to get everything you want. I think it's more so just about the being stimulated on so many of these things that we compare ourselves to. And like I said, you have fear and you have doubt, or I don't deserve this, or I can't get to this, or, you know, along the way we might find ourselves burned and you know, down or mistreated, and we take those things as spiritual baggage and that don't allow us to grow and to move into a space that we might have been when we were younger. What else? Just listening, Heather. Well, good, because I am ready to talk today. Butterfly Magic with hot tea said, vision page board have worked for me, sometimes quite literally. Yeah, that's something that I actually haven't done before, and it's funny because my mom was really big on vision boards. She had this vision board that was so interesting that was hanging up in our home growing up. She had like her exact dream card that she printed out, like exact. She had like each of us kids, I think. So there was my brother, my real brother, me, and my 3 step siblings. And so she had us all on this vision board. And I think she saw like money bags. She had something like money bags above each of our heads or something like that. So she was envisioning either her being able to supply us with money, or us coming into our own money, being financially set. However she had it, I don't remember exactly, but she had a very specific Capricorn moon vision board up for herself, and it was hanging right in the walkway from our living room to our kitchen, which also was connected to our bathroom. So you really couldn't go anywhere in the house without seeing her vision board. For a while it was there, at least, and she had very specific things on there. That's not something that I've actually done, is a vision board. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm doing a lot of vision boardy things and like bullet journals and, you know, with artwork and stuff like that, but maybe we should make a vision board, people. That would be great. Yes, but I have a vision board in my room. It's harder as an adult because we have to rise above the influence of society on how we see ourselves and our abilities to affect change in our lives. Agreed. Yeah, does anybody have any circumstance in which they can remember, you know, setting an intention, again, either consciously or subconsciously, when you were younger and had a little bit more of like a, I don't want to say naive, but a little bit more of a pure look on life and energy and how to get what you want? Is there anything you remember just coming to you? Like you felt like you just thought it and it happened. Or that you wanted it and then you got it. Is there anything that you can remember that you'd like to share with me? I am all into memories right now, and I don't know if it's because we have like 5 planets retrograde and we're going into a Mercury retrograde and we have this eclipse happening or whatever. I am having prophetic dreams that are coming true like within 24 hours. I'm having these random flashbacks to memories and smells and scents and touches from childhood right now. I was just talking to Imogen, who I'm not sure if she's still here, but she's having kind of a similar thing. So I'm all about reliving or re-remembering things from my childhood right now. like the other day I was just doing something monotonous or something, you know, maybe chores or something, and out of nowhere it was such a strong feeling and sense that I was sitting in my dad's work truck. He used to work for like a recreational type park in Michigan, and he had a very specific smell and feel to his work truck, you know, like the leather seats. He had like garbage at the foot down by the passenger seat. But like the feeling and the smell of being outside in nature, but being in such a like man work truck. The feel of the seats and like the smell and the sense of being in a work truck, like in his work truck, was so strong out of nowhere. And I like wanted to journal about it, or I wanted to like pop on and be like, you guys, tell me about a memory from childhood. All the time, like 3 or 4 big memories or flashbacks like that are happening to me daily right now, and I don't exactly know why, but I'm just kind of rolling with it. I used to manifest things all the time when I was younger. Things like the lead role in a school play. I'd absolutely believe that it was for me. I'd see myself doing it without question. Feels much harder as an adult. Yeah, and why? Isn't that so dumb, Imogen? I actually remember you telling me that, and when I heard you say it, I was like, I've had the same exact experience where it wasn't like I want to achieve this. It's like, this is happening, and here's how it's like, not here's how it's going to happen, because sometimes the universe goes, no, I'll give you what you want, but we're going to do it this way. And when you fight against it, it becomes an issue. But more so like, no, this is going to happen, and here's what I'm wanting when it does happen. Manifesting things, you know, in the future is so much more potent and powerful, but you're right, it's harder now. Christine says, I was like that all the time as a kid. I believed I could do so many things, and then bullying and the usual BS stuff kids, teens go through ruined the hope and self-confidence, which carried into adult years. I'm working on that now, but definitely interferes when a person goes through that stuff. Yeah. For me, it was more so like relationships ups and downs and breakups and things of that nature. I became very insecure and very fragile and stuff in that sense, and my confidence came more so from failed relationships. But I definitely relate to you on it's hard in the adult life now. So, cool. That was my homework. I don't think a lot of people understood what I was getting at because I kind of cut out, I think, early last week. But that's it. And then the homework, obviously, I said for next week is to list the 22 majors in the tarot system and think about movies that relate to those cards. I think it's going to be really, really fun. I hope that you guys join me and follow in on a lot of the other channels that will be participating. It's going to be so cool. Heather said, I actually started writing a few months ago, and I'm thinking about self-publishing a book about my childhood and past. I would read that so quickly. Barefoot Taurus said, for me personally, I didn't experience anxiety or seasonal depression until college, so knowing that go through this clinical or fragility, my confidence has plummeted. Yeah. It could be just like one thing even that happens. I can't wait. Yay, I'm so excited. All right, let's get into this stupid book. All right, so Earth Magic, you guys, we're finishing this up. I do have some really cool things I want to talk about. Let me take a sip of my coffee and get my notes. What is this? Oh, my little bookmark. Okay. There was a lot of like guided meditations and stuff in this book, in this reading section that I did not read. Maybe a couple of them I skimmed over if I was more interested in how that was going for him. But I didn't. There's a lot of like, you'll see in the book where it's like, he'll talk, and then there'll be like these big gray sections that are him like kind of walking you through what these meditations would be like exercises, you know, all that. I didn't really read those sections, but I did try and read quite a bit. And then at the end, when it gets back into like soul loss and all that stuff, I was like, nah, whatever. There's a couple things in here I really am excited to go over, and mostly it was the reading section about the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. But let me go back. I don't think there's anything I want to go over on chapter 19. So if you didn't know, we went over the last part. We went over part 3. So it was quite a bit of reading, but again, most of us just skimmed right through. So in chapter 19, there's the section on getting started, and then the next one is guiding principles. And I want to read parts of this and then talk about this, because I think this carries over with a lot of things, but also for our tarot fam here, and just in general. I don't need this coffee. Can barely talk. I'm like tongue-tied right now. Okay. So I am on chapter, if you guys do have the book, I'm on chapter 19, page 180, under the section Guiding Principles. I'm going to read a little bit about this. Okay. Oh, this is very shamanic. Yes, it is. But there's validity that we can talk about that carries on to a lot of other things. So it says, a lot has been covered already. I'm preparing yourself to do this kind of work. So whatever we're talking about, he's talking about whatever he was talking about before. One of the adages that I did my best to follow in the years I worked as a psychotherapist was knowing your strengths and your limitations. After only a couple of years of practice, I realized I didn't want to work with younger children anymore, as I didn't enjoy it. It required more skills than I had trained for, and there were a lot of therapists who did much better work with kids than I could. Knowing your strengths and your limitations means to rigorously and honestly assess your capabilities before doing any kind of healing work with clients. If there's a deficit in your training or experience, then get more training. Also, having a colleague who does similar kind of work helps, because you can consult with him or her whenever you find yourself in a bind. There's no shame in saying no to clients if you don't feel ready to work with them, or if your feelings and judgments about a client are interfering with your ability to work with him or her. The best way to deal with this is to be tactfully honest and refer these clients to someone else. Another guiding principle to keep in mind is to do no harm, as mentioned previously. It's not likely that you will, as long as you keep a bead on your ego and differentiate from spirit working through you. With training and practice, you'll more readily be able to distinguish what's ego-driven and what's spirit-driven. This work does require humility, and after all, it's impossible to brag about being humble, which I would argue with his writing. Sorry, I'm spilling the tea. Come and follow his weave. But I do really, really like this section, so that's why we're going over it. As you work with people who have more challenging or even life-threatening illnesses, okay, this is getting more so, yeah, he's going into some other area. So really just the section that I was talking about here, knowing your strengths and limitations. Referring to other people, referring clients, or referring if you feel like you can't help to other people, especially in a spiritual healing practice, whatever that is, whether it's counseling, whether it's tarot, whether it is, an e-course or whatever it is, when you're trying to help somebody on developing or growing themselves. So funny he talks about overinflated ego. I know, Rebecca. I don't want to just sit here and bash this guy and bash his writing, but I did not connect to it personally. That's a very nice diplomatic way to say it. But again, this is really great section, and I did like this part. So what I was thinking about in this, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing your limitations, and I was trying to think about, I do love this Oracle deck though. I know Imogen, and we will be pulling a card at the end, and we're also going to be talking about this deck, but let me not get ahead of myself. So what I was thinking about with this section was what I request from Spirit to give me as far as clients and what I have limitations and boundaries on with clients through tarot. And then I was thinking about my grandmother. I'm always thinking about my grandmother, but, you know, if you're new to my channel or you don't know, my grandmother is really who was my biggest spiritual influencer, apart from my mother as well. But she has taught and read astrology natal charts since the 70s and tarot. So she's talked to me a few times, and especially when we were first learning about ethics and, you know, what she will and will not handle. And please don't quote me on this because it's been quite a while since we've talked about it. But she does not want to deal with death and dying in her clients' readings, whether it is her astrology readings or her tarot business. And a lot of the times she'll blend the two, so she'll do natal chart readings and then follow it up with tarot. But that's something that I remember her specifically saying that she has asked Spirit not to be dealt with, that she doesn't want to go there. She doesn't feel comfortable with that subject. So if anybody has you know, a severe, someone close to them that has died, or somebody is going to pass away, or, you know, they're dealing with those things, that's out of my grandma's realm of expertise, and she doesn't feel like she's best suited for that. And she doesn't want to be dealt with that because of the fact that she knows her limitations. She would get uncomfortable, or she would not want to go there, so she might not properly give messages in the right way. And so whatever you think about that is your opinion, but that's what my grandma has told me. I never felt that way about that particular topic, but there are certain things that I've thought about, like that I've consciously or subconsciously asked my spirit guides and asked or put forth that I don't want to deal with in readings. And there's not much. And I'm going to tell you about a specific situation without giving too much personal information on this one person. This was a while ago. It was one of my very first tarot readings. And I had known this person from before, but we had not had contact for a really long time for certain reasons. And they reached out to me and they asked for a reading, and I thought, oh yeah, great. Okay, we'll meet. And I did a big 13 card spread. It was a professional setting. She was paying me and all of these things. And I started with the reading, and she was very closed off, and I could feel her energy was in a prove it kind of way. So she was very much, when I would, you know, give information or start going into a specific energy or what I was picking up on certain cards in certain areas which I was trying to connect to her, I wasn't getting anything back. And I don't think it was because it wasn't connecting. I think it was because she didn't want to delve in deeper, and she was waiting for me to say certain things. She wanted me to validate certain things. She was testing me. She was kind of saying like, oh yeah. So I would try to go in. I'm not trying to talk bad about this person, but this is leading me to one of the things that after this reading, I realized, and I had told my spirit guides, this is not the kind of client that I want. So please do not bring them forth to me anymore for a reading sense. So I was fighting to get something back to go off of with her. And if there's people that I've read for that just have a harder time sharing or have a harder time going deeper into the cards, and that's different. This person was resisting and holding back because she wanted me to prove it to her. And I felt as though I was just trying to like show my worth the whole time instead of like helping this person get through the reading. And finally, I touched on a few cards, like the Empress came up in a very specific position to where I was like, okay, I know you just had a baby, and I mean, this could be around mothering, and whatever I was saying was coming up, but I was feeling like there was another pregnancy. Like, are you pregnant again? Or this could be about wanting another, or about trying to have another, or whatever it was. I can't remember specifically again what was happening. But I had touched on that. And then a few other cards after that, I kept being pulled back, and she was just like, I don't know, you know, yeah, maybe, I don't know, you know, and I was like, give me something. And then by the end of the reading, I was like, okay, was there anything that, you know, we didn't touch on that you were hoping to touch on? And I could throw another card or two or whatever. And she was like, do you want me to tell you a secret? I was like, okay. She's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, congratulations. Like, and again, that's as much as I'm going to go into it, because that's a personal reading that I've already probably shared too much of what that person's thing was, but this is me trying to help and teach and to share. After that, I was aware that that's not what I feel comfortable with. I don't want to sit and just validate things. I want to help somebody grow and work through it. And when that one particular card came up and I kept going back to it and I kept asking and wanting to go in, and it wasn't happening, and then after the reading was over, I was presented with information like in such a nonchalant way, to me that didn't feel right for how I read. And again, I wished her the best. She's actually a really lovely person, and everything like that. But at the same time, I was like, that's something that I need to draw a border on. Please, Spirit, please do not send me people that are just looking for me to prove myself to them. I want people that want to journey and get more information and work and really get some insight and guidance and take what they want and leave the rest. But at the same time, for me, I don't want that kind of energy, and that's my limitation, and I need to know that. And that's kind of crossing more on boundaries, you know, setting boundaries with yourself. But I know that I am not as equipped for readings for people that are just seeking validation, because my mindset isn't just always to do that, if that makes sense. Anyways, let me go back and let me go back. Oh shoot, I usually don't talk much at all during readings because I feel like I don't want to give them too much information. Otherwise, I feel like it won't be genuine. Exactly. There's a difference though, Barefoot Taurus, between having clients that just don't know what to say or that are connecting but they don't really want to go into it. Like, there's a difference between that. I can tell when someone's being receptive of information but just doesn't know what to say or doesn't feel comfortable or might be more shy or doesn't want to give me more information. They want to get through the rest of the reading. But it was almost the smugness and the, like, you know, prove it or, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm not trying to talk bad about this person. I'm really not. It's more so showing you an example about after this reading, I realized that I don't want readings like that. And I bet you that there are beautiful readers out there who are so good and that want to just give people the validation that they're looking for and are just like, here, 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 here. And I'm more like, let's talk and go deeper into this card. How about we talk? And it's hard when I do video recorded readings because I don't have feedback and I just have to go with what I'm getting and kind of dive as deep as I want and then move on. It is a really different dynamic by having video recorded readings versus reading in person for somebody. But typically when I'm reading in person with somebody, the beauty of it is that they can at least tell me a little bit and I can get more information or go towards a different direction with it. But if they say nothing, that's okay too. I think it was more so the holding out of information just because I felt like it just, you guys know what I'm saying, I think. Sam, I'm doing my first reading for someone I don't know, and she's not super open to the whole situation, so I'm worried this will be the same issue for me. Don't be worried. Just have an awareness and know your strengths and limitations. And if you don't want something to be brought up, it's the same for that client. I always tell my clients, if there's something that you don't want me to go into, if there's something that you're uncomfortable with me bringing up or that you're nervous to be brought up and that you're not really ready to go into, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to bring it up because you're not open to that energy. So don't be surprised if I skim over it or that I might dance around the topic of it, but I won't be able to pinpoint it or I won't be able to go directly into what it is, because if you're not open and receptive to diving into it, I won't go there. I don't believe that I will be able to pick up on those things if you're shielding yourself from accessing them. But if you do want to go into them and it is harder and I start hitting certain points that make you uncomfortable, just simply let me know I'm not comfortable or I'm not ready to go into that fully. And that's a good way to go in and think about it. But think about it on your end as well. I will say though, and I've mentioned this in a video before, I did a group reading for about 15 people, and it wasn't a group reading, but it was like back to back to back to back to back people. And I got to this one woman who was like 80-ish, and I could tell this was like her first time getting read tarot, and she was kind of like, I've been hearing things from the other people who had gotten readings, like, I can't wait for this person to get a reading, so I was like getting nervous. And I was like, please, just not the death card, because I was using the Wildwood Tarot, and the death card is like very gruesome and like grotesque, and I was just thinking that she might have been religious and that might have scared her off. So I'm shuffling, and in my mind, I can hear myself saying, not the death card, please, not the death card, please just don't pull the death card. Instead of like, what does she need to know? What do I need to help? You know, what energies can I pick up and we can dive into with her? Instead of having that mindset, I let my nerves and my insecurities get the best of me. And I was thinking, not the death card, not the death card. And of course, popped out the death card. And I was like, okay, we'll just put this one aside and we'll talk about it later. And I was only doing 4 card readings for people because of the time limit and how many I was doing. I was getting drained really quickly. So I was going through the 4 cards that she had up, and she was, you know, I kept talking about, why aren't you getting sleep? Why aren't you getting sleep? Like, what's happening here? Like, I feel like there's a disconnect and something's bothering you, or along these lines. And she was like, yep. But I wasn't hitting that nail on the head. So I pulled the death card over and I was like, now, this doesn't have to mean actual death. Like, it was so beginner, stereotypical reading, like, fear of the death card and difficult cards. And she just blatantly said, like, out loud, like, my husband passed and he won't leave me alone in the night and I can't sleep. And I was like, there it is. My insecurities gotten in the way, and that's what she wanted me to bring up, and that's what she wanted me to go to, and that's where she needed to talk about, but I assumed things about her, or I assumed, you know, or I let my insecurities get in the way. And I'm getting really off topic now because I'm trying to talk about, you know, knowing your strengths and your limitations, but I think that this kind of does connect a little bit into confidence and trusting your intuition and knowing that some of the strengths that you have to sit in those strengths and really own those strengths. Okay, let me go to some of these comments. I never gave anything during readings either, Barefoot Taurus, but I think Sammy means her attitude, like, prove it. Yeah. Okay, I don't know much about tarot readings, but can be used to answer questions about how to take the next step and get into a new place in a certain person's life as actual details, like what steps to take next. Okay, I gotta catch up a little bit. Oh, Imogen retracted one of her comments. Okay, hold on, wait. Smug gets to you. Yeah, right, like smug. Like, I do not want to read for people that are like really, yeah, like I've been and this is really, I think, common for people who do tarot or are kind of open about it. You know, you'll run into, like, it'll come up in conversations where, like, you might have a really supportive friend who's like, maybe you've read to before or whatever, and then you get into a group setting and that friend's there and they're like, Sam does tarot, oh my gosh, it was really amazing and whatever, and oh, she's really cool, blah blah blah. And then you have these other people that are like, oh really, oh okay, do you have your cards, you gonna read for me, kind of thing. And that attitude of like, oh yeah, so I don't really believe in it, but like, you should read my cards, that sort of attitude, that's kind of extreme, but that's happened to me a lot. And if it was worded in a different way, or if it was, you know, whatever, I would have been like, sure, let me grab my cards. I always bring them with me. You know, I always have a deck in my bag. Let's go to a corner somewhere and I'll throw a couple cards for you or whatever, or here's my card or whatever. But if somebody has that attitude, that's my limitation. I will not read for people who are the cocky prove it to me type. That's something that I don't deal with. I don't want to be proving myself. I don't have the energy or the time to be doing that. So okay, that might have come off very egotistical, but that's my limitation. You know, I have chosen to ask my spirits, you know, my helpers, my gods, my animals, whatever. I don't want to deal with that. Similar experience. Lady said, I know how you guys work. Like, readers say what clients want to hear and feed off comments, so they say nothing. I treated her to an awesome reading regardless. I know exactly what you mean. Okay, so yeah, even like when I did this like back-to-back group reading, you know, it was about 12 to 15 people there. Plus, why do they expect us to essentially waste our time with that energy? Exactly. So I just, no. No. It still comes up where I'm like presented with people like that, and I think it's almost like a test from my guides. Like, are you still wanting this? Are you still in this mindset or energy? Or look at this, like, how are you gonna deal with this? Which I can appreciate. Sometimes they check me, but I think in this like back-to-back group setting, you know, it was paid for by the host in like an overall thing. So each person didn't pay the money, I don't think. I can't remember. I know that I was just paid by one person, and I don't think this host charged the other people that were there to, you know, for their individual readings. Either way, they were all kind of sitting at this big long table, and I was taking them, you know, one by one into a different room so that we could have privacy and stuff. And there was about 2 or 3 people there that I would come out and, you know, they would be like, who's next? Who hasn't gone? And, you know, we'd look at some of the people that I knew, and I was like, if you want to, you can. If you don't want to, if you feel uncomfortable, or if it's something that you don't, you know, you're not thrilled with, or that you just have no interest in, do not, please do me a favor and just don't come in the room, you know, because I don't want to force you to do anything that you don't want to do. I don't want to have to force it myself, but if you just want to see what it's like, you've never done it before, if you've got questions, or if you really have, you know, seen a reader before and you're excited to see what I'm like, or whatever the case is, but I don't want to make anybody feel pressured to get a reading if they don't want to. And there was, you know, 2 or 3 people that chose to hold out, and they knew their limitations, they knew what was uncomfortable for them, and that was perfectly okay with me. I applauded that. I appreciated and thanked those people for not just doing it to do it, even though they really didn't want to. And this goes over in life for anything, not just, you know, tarot, but knowing your limitations, talking about it in a parenting sense, you know, when it comes to teaching or helping your child, or, you know, what you will or won't take from, you know, tantrums from a child, or, you know, knowing your limitations. So, sorry, Sammy, do you find doing back-to-back readings draining? I was never able to do that. Also, how do you deal with knowledge about I think there was a typo in there. Okay, Rebecca, how do you find doing back-to-back readings? Do you find doing back-to-back readings draining? Yes. When I do back-to-back readings, I will only read at most 5 cards. So it's typically like a 4 tarot card and 1 oracle card ending like sweetener at the end. And I've only done it once or twice. It is extremely draining. I now know my limit is about 10 people. After that, I start to feel like I'm not, you know, when I did this one group reading, I did a couple too many people, and that was only because I was pushing to see how far I could go, and I had to take intermissions. So I think I took 2 intermission breaks, and it was really funny because in those intermissions, I didn't know who I was going to read next, but I was like taking pee breaks and stuff, and I'd be in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, and like picking up intuitively things that were going to come up in the reading, because I was so charged and so in a flow and so amped up. But it was good to, like, every few people, and in between people, I did take kind of a breath and try to reset the table and reset my energy, but it is hard when you're going back to back to back like that. So yeah, it is really draining. I think my maximum now would probably be about 10 people, and I would feel like that would be okay for me, unless I was taking bigger, longer intermission breaks and really kind of doing something else to take my mind off of the cards in between, that I might be able to get more in, When people purchase readings through my website, especially the bigger spreads, like the 13 card spreads, I got a couple big ones, like 12 to 13 card spreads on my website. I will only do one of those a day if possible. So when I post my website up, because it's getting a facelift right now, I give myself X amount of days to be able to do the reading and to post it, to send the link, because I do have a day job still. So I can't have like the 2 to 3 day that a lot of these other readers have because I have a day job. It's harder for me to do. But if I get one of these bigger readings, like my Astrology Association reading or my grandma's go-to tarot reading spread, which is like anywhere from 10 to 13 cards for each, I can only do one of those a day. I am just so drained afterwards. If I do 2 a day, it's like 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And I only allow five readings up on my site. So if, like, let's say I post my website up after I give it a facelift and you guys, I'm promoting it and all you guys go, let's say, a bunch of people want to go buy my Astrology Association tarot spread. It will only allow me to do 5, up to 5. After that, it will sell out per se until I can catch up on some of the readings, and then I'll post it available back up because I just know that it's so draining that I would need to, stay up on those. So that's a good question. But if it's like a smaller reading or something else that I don't know, I'm having some really, really cool new readings that are going to be going up on my site. One of them is actually based around manifestation magic. And it's a spread that I created myself and I'm really pumped about it. And then I also am going to have a spread around spirit connections. Really excited about that one too. It's a spread that I created and a reading that I'm going to be offering that I'm just so pumped about. I'm really, really excited. So please be patient with me because building your own website is fucking hard. And also I'm just really trying to put intention and making sure that everything that I'm doing is really coming from my heart and not just putting it up there to put it up there or to do it just because I feel like I should do it or that all these other people's websites have this, so mine should too. I'm really trying to be, intentional with what I'm doing and making sure that it feels very me. Wow! She can talk, she can ramble, she can rant. What were we even... what was I even talking about? You guys want to say some stuff to me? Because, anyways, going pee and in the flow. I'm telling you, I was picking up on things like hardcore when I was going pee. Oh my gosh, there's so many comments. I can't even catch up with that. Yeah, dude, what chapter are we on? We're on the first chapter of part 3. So chapter 19, the first page in. I was just rambling, so it's fine. Anyways. So, alright, let's move on. Y'all, I should not be able to, go live on things. It's dangerous. Okay. Anyways. Let's talk about... Oh, good. We like talking tarot always. Okay, cool. Let's talk about this lower world, upper world, middle world thing. Now, this is something that I was really unfamiliar with, especially because I think this is really pulling from the shamanic knowledge and the shamanic practice and the shamanic way of thinking. Not that this doesn't bleed over into other aspects of spirituality or connecting with certain things in all aspects, but as far as these terminologies and reading about them and thinking about them, I think that this is the first time I've actually had writing in which I've gotten knowledge about. Let's see. So I gotta go. It's talking about drumming and how he meditated with certain things and his power animal and all these things. And I'm not trying to put down the shamanic practices in general. I think it's just the way that I'm very interested in this, but I just wasn't a big fan of how it was presented in this book. think I need water. Okay. So we kind of, I don't know where he starts talking about it, but he kind of blends it in with talking about drumming and all this stuff that I don't really feel like talking about because it was like, whatever. But he goes into the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. And I'm going to show you these cards from the Mystical Shaman Oracle by Colette Baron Reed and a few other creators. So if you guys are interested in this deck, I have done an unboxing first impressions walkthrough of it. It's up on my channel. You can look it up. If I remember after this posts and it's, you know, it's up for good on my channel, I will try and go back and remember to put a link down below to it if you want to check it out. This is a really juicy, interesting, raw magic earth kind of deck. And we can look into some of the cards, but there's 3 cards in specific that deal with this lower world, middle world, and upper world. And I actually used, okay, let me back up a little bit. So I use 1 tarot deck and 1 oracle deck and do a year ahead spread. If this is the first time you're hearing about it, I'll just explain very briefly. I basically start, I think I start in April, so it goes from May to April. But in April, I will take 2 decks, an oracle and a tarot deck, and I will shuffle them up. It's a big ritual that I have. You know, I really focus my energy on meditating. This is a big thing for me, and it's a big part of my practice and my tarot journey. And I, you know, really think about the next coming year. I really ask what I need to work on, what areas I need to be shown, what kind of energies will be brought forth, and I will flip 12 cards from the tarot and 12 cards from the oracle corresponding with each month of the coming year. So, you know, I'll start with May and I'll have 1 tarot card and 1 oracle card for May, and then I'll so on and so forth throughout the whole year. And so I just redid my year ahead spread back this past April, and the 2 decks that I chose to use was the Fountain Tarot, which is the tarot deck that I used, and then for the oracle deck I actually used the Mystical Shaman Oracle. So fancy that we're talking about the lower, middle, and upper world. My oracle card for July is the middle world. And so this was kind of interesting because I feel like I was resistant to this card and resistant. Beautiful freaking card, by the way. Are you kidding? Like, can you see that? The backs are really cool. Looks like a boob target, but like really raw and wonderful and awesome. It's a compass, but like it looks kind of like a boob. But it's just like juicy and raw and like clay and earth magic. So this is my card for July, and I kind of want to read a little bit from the guidebook of this to see what it says about middle world. But then they also have the lower world and upper world. So this would be the upper world, which I love this card. It gives me hardcore Harry Potter vibes that I live for. And so when I got middle world and I didn't get upper world, I don't think, I was like, man, I want the Harry Potter vibes. But this card reminds me of the vibes. Whoa, she out of focus, honey. There it is. This card gives me extreme ethereal vibes of my main spirit guide. So I don't say her name out loud. She's very sacred to me. She's very important, and her name holds a lot of meaning. I've only spoken it aloud on accident, maybe twice. So there's only like 2 people that know the name of my main spirit guide. And they know to keep their mouths shut, because I feel as though right now she's a little stingy with me. I feel a little, not jealousy of working with Coventina, but I'm feeling like the last few times that I have tried to like access her or to call upon her and stuff, she's having an attitude like I read in the book when he talks, and maybe you guys didn't read it, but there's a section in here where he talked about where he has these power animals that help him and guide him through different things that he does, and especially when he's doing healing work, he calls upon these power animals, and when he does these meditations, he's always having these power animals guide him to where he wants to go, and he wasn't really working with them and accessing him. And then one time he went into meditation and wanted them to guide him through something, and they just sat and faced him and was like, oh, now you want our help when you need something. And then they forgave him and then took him wherever once he got it and he apologized, which I don't really like the whole guilt tripping thing. But if I'm being honest, my main spirit guide, who I used to call on and talk to and think about and live through that energy all the time, I haven't as much because I've been working with Coventina, and when I have been thinking or talking about her or seeing her name in my mind, I'm feeling as though she's kind of like, do you remember me? Hey, I miss you. So when I'm seeing this card right now, I'm kind of feeling like, I'm sorry, I missed you. I'll talk to you later. Because for this is a really great vibe that I feel color-wise, energy-wise of my spirit guide. She's very ethereal, and I feel like she comes from the upper world energy. Wow, the coffee has got me rambly. I hope that you guys are with me, and if not, then I'm just talking anyways. What do you guys say? Hi, Jennifer. Hi, I'm so late. You're not. You're really not. It's an hour in, and typically I'll go for another hour. So then we have the lower world. So here's the lower world card. This is also gorgeous and amazing and awesome, and oh my gosh, I love it. I don't think she'd be spiteful, but I believe our guards know when we need another energy around. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, when I read that in the book about him and his power animals, I kind of had a sense of like, I don't feel like my spirit guide would want that. I think my spirit guide just wants the best for me and wants me to journey and explore however I want to journey and explore. That really resonates with me when I think about it in that way. But when I think about the energy and trying to connect to her, which I call her energy feels very feminine and woman-like to me. When I think about it, if I'm being honest, in the last month or so, I felt very disconnected from her. And I feel like maybe it's because she's stepping back and kind of taking herself out of the spotlight to let me journey with Coventina more, and I'm just interpreting it as she's got an attitude. So if I'm thinking about it in the beautiful kind of stereotypical spirit way, I honestly feel like spirit guides, or if you're working or you believe in that sort of things, I always feel like they just want the best and they want us to do what makes us happy. But maybe I'm interpreting it in a different way. I do feel like she's stepped back away from me a little bit, so that I can do this other thing with this Coventina girl who keeps snatching my weave. So here's the middle, the lower, wait, let's do this. The lower, the middle, and the upper world. And these cards are super, super, super cool. But I want to read to you about the middle world. The guidebook is super, just like basic little sentences here and there and stuff. What number is this? Number 36. The images are gorgeous. Super, super pumped. So it has 3 different sections in the book. So you have a black and white version on the side, and then it has the essence, the invitation, and the medicine. So basically the essence would be like, you know, the card's essence, its meaning, mostly in an upright position. The invitation is more so like where they would like you to work, maybe inviting you to take a look at some certain things, or maybe where to go and journey with. And then the medicine would be more so like it sounds like take your medicine, or if you do read reversals, you could use this as like a reversal kind of energy. So the essence for the middle world says, the middle world is a realm of day-to-day reality and the playground of the living. It is the present moment where everything is happening, yet the middle world is created by the future, not only the past, and it is a mirror of the invisible realms. When things are right in the middle world, heaven and earth support everything. When they are not right, heaven and earth must be brought into order as well. So it's very, not my favorite writing, but there's some keywords in there that I definitely use for my year ahead spread. The invitation says, the middle world shows up when conditions are favorable to your undertaking. Do not hesitate. Move forward, as heaven and earth are smiling upon you. The time is right, so be expedient, but mindful of not being reckless. The world is your playground, and what would require great effort at any other time can be accomplished with ease right now. I honestly feel that so hardcore right now, and I'm not going to go into that too much because I do want to make a separate video on my monthly year ahead cards. And if you're wondering, my monthly tarot card for this is the Ace of Swords reversed. So the medicine for this is, do not try to correct in the earth what needs to be corrected in the heavens. The resources to support the change or endeavor you are considering are not readily available to you yet. It is important to ask for help from the invisible realms, from helpers in the upper world. For now, wait. So it's just some food for thought with this card and how they chose to depict it in their guidebook. And this is my current card for the month. I just thought it would be fun to kind of look at these cards and to go over it. If you guys are interested, I can read what they have to say in the guidebook about the lower and the upper world. But another thing I wanted to talk about with this is he kind of breaks down each of these worlds and different ways to meditate and to journey through and into them, which I found fascinating on a sense where my mind started spinning, because in my practice, in my journey with meditation, I have a very specific way in which I sit down and do what I call grounding. And I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about this, and I've brought this up before, but I think it's been a while since I've talked about it. So I use a form of grounding and going down into what I call level, what a lot of people will call level. And I was kind of guided by my grandmother to find my level and how to get there in my own unique way. And I would say that I start in middle world, mindset, consciousness, energy, and I go down into level. And from what I was reading about lower world, and from what I was, picking up from the guidebook, and from what I can see in this card, when I meditate and go to level, I would say I'm always trying to access and bring myself to a lower world realm. I'm trying to think of a time in which I've meditated and gone through my grounding and gone through my, bringing myself down to level, or bringing myself into an awareness and been journeyed or been trying to consciously or have accessed an upper world kind of feel. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that could say about me personally or what, but it really got my mind going. So this is what I'm getting into now. So my grandma, when she meditates and she goes down to what she calls level, she has and she doesn't mind me saying this, she's shared this multiple times before with people, and this is something that she's very open about. She'll get comfy, she'll do her thing, put her hands up, kind of get in a comfy position. But what she does in her mind is that she envisions herself in an elevator with old doors, kind of like maybe on the Titanic, like those doors, it's all very old fashioned and it's all very, vintage, and the numbers and everything are very vintage. And so she'll start her breathing, she'll do her square breathing and all that stuff, and then, she'll start to push the button to go down or pull the lever or whatever to go down in her elevator. So she'll breathe, and then each level that goes by, that goes down and down, she gets further and deeper into her going down to level, to grounding herself. And she knows that when she hits 0 or ground level in her elevator, she opens it up and she steps out into a scientific laboratory workshop, where then she will get in and lay down on a table. And she has all of these hundreds and hundreds of scientists and doctors and all of these things and guides that are at their machines and at their, computers and all of these things, and in white coats or whatever. And she says, let's journey into different things, or this is how she gets herself down into level. And this is the area in which she receives messages and information, whether about herself, her body, somebody else, or whatever the deal is. This is where she does her energy work. So if there's a part in herself that she'd like to work on, or maybe she has pain in a certain area, she'll go into level and lay on the table and let the scientists and these energies and guides kind of let her know and scan her body and give her information in which she needs to, work on or whatever. So she kind of tells me about some of these situations and some of these circumstances, and I've really picked up on a lot of that. And when it came to meditating, I kind of had like such a free-flowing, open thing about it that I didn't really know. But I did take parts of what she taught me, and over the years really developed my own way of grounding. I have a very similar elevator sort of feel, but I start barefoot in the woods. This is very personal, you guys, but I'm open to sharing this because I think it's really, it's not a secret, it's fine, but it's like, when I talk about it, I'm like, whoo, okay. So I start off and I'm barefoot walking through the woods and the grass. I start to envision and feel the smells, the sounds, the tastes of the woods and the forest, and all that I'm walking on is really nice, really luscious grass. So I'm walking, I'm feeling the green grass on my feet. I can feel it, right? And I'm walking through the woods, and I come to this big, huge tree with a door, very Alice in Wonderland like. And the knob of the door is always different. Sometimes it's like a push handle or a pull handle. Sometimes it's a glass knob. Sometimes it's really weird. Sometimes it's a pull lever. But I open this door, right? I see myself opening this door, and I step inside this big tree. And what I see is this marble checkerboard platform. And it is pretty much taking up most of the tree in a circular way, but it's a platform that I step up with, and I envision my feet hitting this cold, smooth tile that I can see is like checkerboard. And this is developed over time. This just didn't happen. It was like little details. Every time I did it, became more and more specific, and they created themselves. So I step up on this platform, this marble checkerboard platform, and there's normally a button or a lever or something that I push, and I start to descend in the trunk of this tree, and I go down and down and deeper, and I see these numbers falling past me, almost as if Alice falling down the rabbit hole, although I feel much more grounded and secure and in control. And so I see these numbers kind of count me down that fly past my face. And when I get down to level, when I get down, I step out, and it's different every time. That's what is kind of weird. There's been some overlying connections, like a lot of the times I'll step out and I'll immediately go through this surface where I'm underwater, and I am swimming and seeing in different objects or different words or different feelings will hit me, but I know that I'm underwater, and I know that I can breathe underwater. Sometimes I go into this like cloudy heavenly feel, but even though that would seem very upper worldly, I still feel as though I'm in a lower world space. Other times I am just in pure white, like the Matrix, and I will just see things or feel things. At one time I was like, money was just raining down from the sky, and I kept seeing my bank account go up and up and up and up and up and up. And I was just like, okay, that's great. Like, that sounds wonderful. And then I got a bonus like the next week for the exact amount that I saw in that white space. I was like, yeah. Anyways, this just had me thinking, and I wanted to share that with you guys just so you knew kind of how I go about things, where I go to receive information. But really thinking about this, reading this and thinking about the middle world, lower world, upper world had me thinking about, what if I stepped into my tree and stepped up onto this marble like platform and envisioned myself hitting a different button, and instead of going down, I went up, and consciously and subconsciously journeyed into a space of upper world meditation. And it was still grounding, but I was raising my frequency and journeying into a different space of energy. Instead of going down, I changed my platform and journeyed up and kind of saw what it was like to go into the upper world. Or like Willy Wonka style, envisioning this platform and a door opening in my tree, and my platform taking me level and journeying on the middle realm and kind of accessing or going or visiting maybe certain people or energy or places that I need to think about on a present form or in the middle world realm. What do you guys think? This, again, is why I really am glad we went over this book, even though I didn't connect with the author and some of the ways he went about saying things. It really did bring up super interesting topics, or did make my mind think in different ways that I hadn't before. In my truth, I feel like almost every single meditation that I have done in this way has been consciously trying to access a lower world energy and a lower world space. And I think that it's going to be really interesting to try and change it up a little bit and see what it's like to change the way in which my platform goes. What do you guys think? Let me go now that I'm done. Oh man, the coffee. All right, let's go back. Rebecca said, oh wow, I walk down these wooden steps that are in the forest. I used to go to all of the time, and I walk further into deep woods, and sometimes I get beside a massive oak. Oh, I'm not surprised. Oh my God, Sammy, we both go into a big tree. Stop, you're freaking me out. Oh, Chaos Dabs 420 said, my tarot deck is arriving today. I know, off topic, but thank you for your videos. Thank you for watching my videos. What tarot deck are you talking about? I'd love to have me stop talking for a second. Rebecca said, no freaking way. Lindsay, wow, that is awesome. I struggle to meditate. I'm ruminating thoughts continually intrude. And the more you do it, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. I do understand that not everybody loves to meditate. Not everybody has that as their practice. But I just thought I would share a little bit to myself. And sometimes I sit down to meditate and immediately go, you know what? Just not today. Let me do something else. Let me do painting, because painting is a form of meditation for me. Or let me just do some journaling or whatever. You know, sitting down and doing that process doesn't always work that well for me. But when it does, it's actually really powerful. And I found that the more I do it, and the continuous, like if I do it, you know, every other day or every day, it gets easier as time goes by. You know, your body and your mind and your thoughts don't struggle as much against you. God, I can't stop touching my hair. It's like itching me. I think it's because I'm starting to get a little sticky and sweaty from the coffee and being like charged up. Jennifer, yeah, exactly. I have ADD and it is hard to shut my head off. I get distracted so easily, but the last few times I actually cleared my mind. I fell asleep, fell over. I can't meditate and everybody else can. And that's okay. This isn't, you know, me trying to tell you that like I have these amazing experiences and if you don't, then, you know, you suck. This is more so like I'm just telling you what I do and what works for me, and find different ways in which you can lower your brain, you know, waves and kind of set yourself into a meditation. So, like I said, you can journal, you could color, you could do artwork, you could organize something in your drawer and use that and be like, just before you do it, have the mindset of like, this is going to be me meditating. What do I need to know? You know, and do something very monotonous and kind of repetitive for as long as you want and see if that works. The Wild Unknown Tarot. Yay, I love that deck. Angie, hi, sorry I had to leave and missed the whole thing. Well, I'm sorry too, but you know, it was very rambly. Jennifer said, but I want to, and I get so frustrated because as soon as I calm, and I will literally fall asleep. You're not the only person that I've heard that from, Jennifer, so don't beat yourself up. I think the best thing to do is to be gentle with yourself and just to understand that maybe that's not the best way for you to approach meditating, and maybe instead of fighting against what your body and your mind is telling you, to maybe just look for alternative ways to meditate. And I bet you that there's really great blogs and videos out there on like, why can't I meditate, or like things to do when typical meditation isn't for you or whatever. And I feel like there's probably some really helpful videos or what am I trying to say? Resources out there. So look into that. Don't beat yourself up. Everybody's different. Everybody goes about spirituality or self-awareness and stuff differently. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. Okay. So, wow, that was big. I was really, really excited to talk to you guys about that and to explain that to you, because I think this is really interesting for me, and I feel as though it really opened my mind up to thinking about things in a certain way and where I'm always putting my energy at, you know? Just because my grandmother talks about lowering her elevator, that's where I started. That's where I, you know, it was like the building blocks for creating my path and creating my way of meditating and grounding. I do feel as though it's probably most beneficial for me personally in my energy to journey down into a space of lower world meditation more so than not, because my energy a lot of the times feels very overwhelming is not a good word, and you guys can probably pick it up sometimes in my live streams. It's very like charged, it's very mental, it's very wordy, it's very heady, it's very light and up here. It's very up here. Sometimes I can be very grounded. I do have a Taurus moon, and you know, I do have that earthy Virgo ascendant, but it's also ruled by Mercury. So I have air and earth and all that stuff, and sometimes I fight to get to my earthy grounded space. So I feel like a lot of the times it's beneficial for me to bring my mind space and my level down into a grounding way, because a lot of the times I can get very anxious and overthinking and very heady and wordy and all of up here, to where it's beneficial for me to do this. But I don't always have to do this. You know, sometimes I sit down to meditate, and I think it would be nice to journey around middle world and see kind of journey around middle world sounds like I'm literally going to be taking drugs and having, you know, what you guys know what I mean. But yeah, I feel like, whoa, I just had a really weird flashback again from childhood memories. Danielle typed, I'm a Taurus moon too. And as soon as I read that comment, I saw this book I had as a child, and it was the Chronicles of Narnia book. And it was a texture book. So each page had these beautiful artistic illustrations or drawings of the book. So it took you through The Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe, but it was like a children's book. But each page had either a scratch and sniffed. I can see the pages of this book. The one you opened it up, it was like sometimes a pop-up too. There was this castle where there was these flying pigs, and there was a little section that you scratched and you sniffed, and it smelled like peppermint. And then there was another page. I know this is really crazy, but I need to get it out right now because it's like all I can think about. Then there was this other page where the child, or was it the lion? I don't remember who in the book. One of them had this green velvet cape, and the cape itself had the texture that you could feel, and it was this wonderfully green color, and I remember like feeling the page. There was another section where there was these metallic-y holographic sections to the book, so if you like moved the book in the light, they would shine. I loved that book. Taurus is all about the senses, touching, feels, sights, tastes, you know, all of that. And books like that each page was like a different scent touched, like, and it was something that was so magical and creative based. I loved that book. Oh my God, I need to get that book again. Like, I would just love to have it, in my, what a weird memory. I'm telling you guys, this has been happening to me for the last, like, maybe, I want to say week, but maybe in the last 3 to 5 days, out of everywhere. Like, do you hate texture, or do you only hate certain textures? And Angelica, do you have Taurus in you? I'm not saying just because you have Taurus that, you know, you have to love everything, but I feel like Taurus is very sensory motivated. And I definitely connect with that in my life, in my mindset about things. I know that I'm very particular about the clothes that I wear, about the blankets that I have, all that stuff. As a kid, I wouldn't eat anything with texture. Yeah, so also that kind of goes on the opposite end of texture. So they're very specific and very, you know, they could be very picky about what textures or what things sensory-wise they listen to. You know, Taurus can be someone that is like really, really sensitive to certain music and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm getting into this rant. Wow! Hey, welcome to my live streams. I'm a Gemini. I drank too much coffee and I am rambly. Oh my gosh, I'm missing so much. I'm so sorry. If you guys have questions or you commented something that you want me to go over again, please just type it again because I just missed it. My daughter is a Taurus. I still won't eat certain textures, and I'm a Cancer. Do you know like your moon sign and your ascendant and stuff? So yeah. Danielle said I would love to have talked more about Taurus moon because everything that I read about it in books and online I don't identify with, but when you talk about it, things make sense. That's because I'm amazing. No, I feel the same way, Danielle. A lot of the times certain books don't cover moon signs in general very well, I've found. Just not even just Taurus moon, but I feel like a lot of the moon signs are covered in a very weird way in textbooks and stuff. Yeah, but I would love to talk to you about Taurus moon. It's one of my favorite things astrologically that I personally connect with. So yeah. I'm missing things again. Rebecca said float tank sessions opening you up. Just saying. Are you asking or are you saying it's opening me up? Hi, Cancers unite. Yeah. Okay, so what else do you guys have? Do you guys have any questions for me? I mean, I'm ready to talk still, but that's pretty much all I had or that I wanted to go over as far as like the last reading section. Because the rest of it, I was just kind of like, yeah, cool, we're done. But those two main points of like knowing your strengths and weaknesses, and I got really rambling off topic about that. And then when he was talking a lot about the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world meditations and journeying and what each of those, spaces are for and about them, I was like, oh my gosh, blowing my mind with thinking about the way I approach meditation or the way in which I feel like I put my energy in and all that other stuff. So yeah, any questions for me? Anything you guys want to go over or talk about? Anything that you're excited about for the next book? I am wanting to pull a card from Earth Magic, but I can wait to the end if you guys want. Or we can do it now if you think. I'm saying the end, but I guess we could just make this the end if we're done. But as you can see, I'm pretty charged and ready to go still. Rebecca, did you watch the Witchy Book Club videos on astrology? It's a lot if you didn't, so I don't blame you. But if you did and you wanted to, I do kind of break down all 12 of the zodiac and, their affiliated planets and houses and the natal chart, as well as dabbling a little bit into, what they mean and what they represent as rising or ascendant signs and moon signs. There is more live streams that I do kind of want to go into certain things. I do still want to do our Mercury retrograde one, and I do still want to have one with characters associated to different zodiacs or planets, but it's not right now that I want to do that. So I'd love for you to pull a card. I have to sign off soon, so okay, well, I will shuffle this up. Angie said, I'm so sad I missed out with work. I had to turn you off and cut hair. Well, cutting hair is serious energy work. And I wish that you lived near me because I would love for you to do my hair. I bet you're amazing. Even what I've seen from your hair and stuff in your video, or not videos, but your like pictures and stuff. Angie has like the most beautiful hair, and it's like, I don't know if it still is like bright pink right now, but I've seen pictures and you're just gorgeous. Yeah, pull a card. I have an appointment in 30 minutes. You can still watch the playback, Angie. Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, I'll travel to you. I would love to. I mean, I'm going to be one of those annoying clients that's like, my hair, you guys, it's really, really long. So I don't really like to get it cut all that much. Sometimes I like little layers and stuff in the front, or like a face frame type thing. But I try to leave it as natural as possible, but my ombre is already almost all the way gone. And I don't know if I just want to leave my hair the way it is. My boyfriend is like wanting me to dye my hair super pink, like cotton candy pink, and I would love to do that, but I just wouldn't keep up on it, and I'm terrified. Obviously, you can see that my hair is a big security blanket for me, so I like your hair, actually. I can tell you take care of it. I try. Really do. All right. Sammy, we should draw our trees and compare because that shit's crazy. Oh my gosh, that would be a good exercise for grimoire. So, okay, here's something I want to talk to you guys about. I was talking to my cousin last night and talking about Molly Roberts, Her Speak. If you haven't seen her channel or been to her channel, she doesn't post all the time, but I'm obsessed with her. I love her so much. And she always starts off her videos with, "Hi, moon babies." And I'm just like, yes, queen, I love you. So if you haven't seen Molly Roberts Her Speaks channel, please go over there. She's just magical and awesome, and she's super artistic. I connect a lot with her in the way she uses art as a medium to do her witchcraft or spiritual practices and stuff. But I digress. She has a lot of really cool videos like grimoire journal prompts and stuff like that, and you know, artistic what am I trying to say? Like ways in which to be creative and kind of connect with certain spiritual things. And I have been so inspired to make a video similar to that, but I don't want to just copy her. But like, I have so many like really good ideas that I want to do and I want to share with you guys. So I would obviously like, you know, talk about her and how it was inspiring me to make the video. But if that's something you guys are interested in, I actually know that a lot of you found me from my bullet journal video a while back, and I am planning on making another bullet journal video as well as a look into my new grimoire slash book of shadows slash bullet journal that I've been working so hard on. So if you guys are interested in that, I could definitely make a video of like artistic spiritual prompts for you guys to do, or, you know, grimoire book of shadows inspiration, because I'm just obsessed with her and I really like it. But that would be such a good prompt to do, is like, you know, if you're someone that meditates, or if you're trying to meditate and you're having a hard time with it, draw out or write out what you'd like it to look like, or what it does look like in detail, and, you know, walk through your process, or what you'd want your process to be if it would work well for you. That would be a great exercise. My hair was purple for a few years ago. I've been contemplating doing it again. Yeah, but it's like so much upkeep, isn't it? Like, I feel like Angie's like, you look like you take care of your hair. And to be honest with you, I do, but it's mostly just like not doing anything to it is how I keep up on my hair nice. So I'm torn. I was purple a year ago, Danielle. That sounds funny. That's a funny sentence. Reminds me of like, I'm blue and da-ba-dee-da-ba-da. Okay, I'm gonna shuffle up these bad boys, and if you guys got some more to say, then talk amongst yourselves. But I'm gonna get quiet for a second and kind of concentrate on what we got going on. Gosh, I have so many memories and so many weird things coming to me right now. This is gonna be interesting, you guys. I feel like I'm so charged up. Ooh, cool. Did not see this coming. Desert. And I know it's backwards for you guys, I'm sorry. But it says Vision Quest. Oh. Okay, this just rang in a little bit more specific for me. So I was trying to draw a card. And I find that happens a lot when I'm doing like live polls or like group polls. I was just watching Katie Flowers' live stream video, and she pulled a card and she was like, I don't really like group readings because I don't do group messages. And as soon as I saw this and I like read and saw what it was, I feel like it connected very specifically for something that I'm dealing with, but I'll tell you guys anyways, and maybe it will connect with you, and we'll read from the guidebook just to see if I can generalize it more. But my brother's located in Santa Fe, New Mexico for the next couple of weeks, and I've been going back and forth in which I'm thinking about buying a ticket to go there for a weekend. And we just had such a long conversation late last night about how he lives in the desert and how I've actually never been to the real desert, and how it's, you know, so different than what so different than what I'm used to. And he's very sick and he wants to get out of the desert setting, but I am being pulled to get a ticket to go see him before he moves to somewhere else. But I'm resistant upon that because we just took this Oregon vacation and I feel bad spending money on a ticket for just myself and not taking, you know, my boyfriend or his kids, or journeying by myself. It feels selfish to me, although I feel as though I might regret it afterwards. So I'm really sorry, because that's kind of what's coming up, is more so a message for me. And so I feel like this is a pull for me to just buy the ticket, bite the bullet, and not feel bad, and view it as, you know, a once in a lifetime opportunity, and just to do it. But let's see if we can generalize this energy a little bit more. I was shuffling thinking, what do we need to know? So let's see what the guidebook has to say, because I think we might be able to kind of connect with other people. So I don't know, I have to go back. Anyways, Can you show how you shuffle the cards? I'm so bad at shuffling. Sure. I'll show you after, okay? So let me get the guidebook. Where's the guidebook? Sometimes the guidebook is fun. Sometimes it's just nice to get different wording. Sometimes it's just nice to see what the, you know, creator had for an intention, especially in a group reading. I could read this intuitively and stuff, but for me currently, this is really coming up as like a personal message for just me. So let's see what it says in here. It says, Lindsay says the desert is amazing, just saying. I'm hoping so, because I feel like I'm a water baby and a forest baby, not so much a desert baby, but that's what I think I might be like. Get out of your comfort zone. Okay, this says vision quest though, so here we go. Here's what it says. In this arid climate zone that we call desert, images shift and change throughout the day, yet always maintain a sharp and defined presence. Those hardy species of flora and fauna that have found a home in the desert have adapted over eons to the relative harshness that's a strong characteristic of these lands. Throughout history, we've passed down many stories of people wandering the desert. Often, they're about religious figures and ascended masters who have journeyed there and returned to their people with remarkable visions. The desert is an ideal place to seek a vision, more accurately, to allow a vision to come to you. The quiet and peace of such an environment is conducive The quiet and peace of such an environment is conducive to the solitude required to have this type of profound experience. Spending time in this region without the visual accoutrements of the civilized world can present survival challenges, or at least seem to. Again, with this like heady worded nonsense, just say what you mean. And this could rightfully be called a spirit quest, where through steadiness in this seemingly bleak environment, it becomes possible to receive direct guidance from spirit internally and in the world around you. So I do kind of feel like this is connecting a little bit more so back to what we were talking about as far as journeying and experiencing the different realms, or the different worlds as they talk about in the shamanic practice. You know, the lower, the upper, the middle world. That's where I'm pulling this a lot from, is talking about, you know, your vision quests and kind of journeying into these different unknown territories. Let me know what you guys are picking up on and how you feel like this connects to you right now. And I'll read this other last part here. It says, a vision quest is a process whereby you spend a few days in the wilderness alone. Typically, you carry only water and some sacred items with you, and you spend most of the time praying and meditating. Many who have completed a vision quest assert that it is a powerful and even life-changing experience and more vivid and profound revelations. It is said that the desert does not lie. So partaking in this can help you discover the truth about your purpose, or at least give you some clues. Sounds like I need to buy tickets to see my brother, huh? But I have a couple other opinions on this writing. It is time for you to go on a vision quest. Okay. Stops live stream and buys ticket. Designate a place in nature in which to dwell, whether for a couple of hours or a few days. Spend the majority of your time while there praying and meditating. It is best to be in a location where you can truly find solitude, even if it is in a quiet corner of a park for an afternoon. Wherever you go, take your question, concern, or challenge with you into prayer or meditation. This is like basically what we were just talking about, although he's talking about in an actual physical sense. And I would argue that you could do it from the ability of your own bed or home or chair or wherever. It's about kind of journeying to different places in solitude, and maybe places that you feel uncomfortable and not so, comfortable with, where it's more secluded. So anyways, the last part of this says, this is one of the more powerful cards. By drawing it, whatever other messages you may have received are amplified threefold. All right, well, it looks like I'm going to Santa Fe, New Mexico, y'all. I don't know why I did that accent, but interesting. I do feel like this relates on a more general sense as like our discussions on middle world, lower world, and upper world. It's something that I'm not as comfortable with, or that I feel like I haven't gone there, journeyed with before. But it looks as though I need to have myself a little secluded vision quest there. What did you guys think about our card? How did you relate it to you? And let me know. I'm going to read some comments now. Yeah, I would have loved my mom to be as awesome as me when I was a kid. I'm strict, but I'm so cool as hell. I don't know what you're talking about, Jennifer. I think I missed a whole lot. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm always dropping cards when I try. Yeah, I'll show you how I shuffle, and everybody shuffles different. There's no right or wrong way in my mind. When Michaela or AJ just learned how to properly shuffle, and I'm talking about my boyfriend's children. So he finally is learning how to shuffle, like riffle shuffle and do like a bridge and stuff. But he's still not great at it. But Michaela, she just kind of throws them on the table and, mixes them around and does her thing and pulls them back up and organizes them, and that's cool too. If you want to know how I shuffle, I'll show you. You should definitely buy the ticket. That is not selfish. It's okay to take a trip by yourself. Thanks, Danielle. I think I will now. I name my skull heads too, Jennifer. I'm missing so much of this. It's okay. Oh, Rebecca, I didn't even think about that. What a place to deal with fear of fire energy. I've talked about that in live streams before, how my least connected element, I feel like, is fire. And yeah, maybe I avoid the desert and I avoid areas like that, or I feel like it's not going to be for me because it is really heavily connected with fire energy. Interesting. Although I've heard Santa Fe, New Mexico is honestly like the place for me, with chakras and stones and crystals and all of the things I'm into. I've heard it's very, spiritual based. I don't know what's happening here. Sorry, guys. I'm like trying to catch up from a while ago through my ramblings. Okay, so somebody, I can't remember who now, asked for me to show how I shuffle. So I riffle shuffle my cards first, and I do it until it feels right. It's going to be kind of hard for me to show you, and the cards might go everywhere because I don't have a flat surface to show you on. So I take half of them in my hands, and I'm going to try not to, so I riffle shuffle them like that. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people think that it's harmful or not great energy for your decks. That's cool, but I really enjoy to riffle shuffle. I really enjoy to really get the energy stirring up, and I will just kind of fold them together like that. Not everybody does that. Some people can't, or some people don't like to do that to their decks. Most of the time I will bridge it so that it bends back so it doesn't have this curve, but it's kind of difficult to do that without like a surface to do it on. So I'll do that. I'll keep doing that until it feels, that's when you heard, that noise. That's me shuffling like a riffle or rifle or however you call it, shuffle. And I really work on clearing during this time, I really work on clearing previous energy. I let go of everything that, you know, I know might be influencing my readings that I don't want to. So I'm just trying to kind of get a really clear mindset and think about what it is I'm trying to get a message about, or kind of say to myself in my head, like, what do I need to know, kind of thing. And then once that feels right, once I feel like I've really got like a clear deck and a clear energy and a really good place to start, then I will take and I will like overhand or side shuffle. A lot of people might go front to back with this, but I find that I really mess up my shuffling and like a bunch of cards will fall out. So I typically will just pull from the back and push over front like this. And I will kind of use my thumb to help me drag the cards down. And if one or two does fall out, if it feels right to me, I will pull those aside and use those as the cards or the jumpers. But if a whole big stack of them falls out, I kind of just go, thanks guys, too much energy. Let's put that back and let's be more concise about it. I'd like a 1 or 2 cards, please, not a whole third of the fucking deck. So then after that, I will just kind of, until it feels right. A lot of the times in my head, to kind of clear things, I will say to myself, what do I need to know? Or what does this client need to know? And I'll say their name or whatever. And I will do it until it lands on a space that feels done, if that makes sense. I've never explained this before, so I hope that I'm doing an okay job. I've literally never tried to verbalize this before. So yeah, I'll just start doing this, and then I will do it until it feels right. And in my head, a lot of the times I will say, like, what do I need to know? Like that, and say it, what do I need to know? Or I might word it differently, like, what does this day bring? Stuff like that. And then so I had a jumper card, and if it jumps, then I'll stop and it feels right, or I'll go until I land on the end of the sentence that feels done. That's how I shuffle. That's how I've always shuffled. A lot of people will stop and cut the deck afterwards. When it feels done, I typically will take and flip the first card or start flipping from that top. I don't cut the deck afterwards a lot of the times. I have before, and it doesn't feel like that resonates with me, and just do whatever feels right. Sometimes I'm drawn to pull from the top and glance at the bottom and use this as like a subconscious card, or maybe something else that I need to think about to incorporate into the reading. But just do what feels right. But that's what I do. This is the jumper card in case you guys are interested. Okay, sorry. Sammy, I learned how to shuffle because my brother kept playing 52 pickup with me as a kid, so I wouldn't stop till I shuffled those darn things. It took me a couple hours, but I can shuffle now. Yay, Jennifer. That's cute. Gosh, I'm so tired, and spirit are very chatty and high energy, so I might go in a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna cue off now. This is gonna be the end. So if you do hang out a little longer, cool, Rebecca. But if not, I love you, and I'll see you next time. Christine, thank you. That helps a lot. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in this jumper card when I was explaining that, it is spring equinox and rebirth. So let's just take a little glance at this one as well and see what this brought out. What is this? This is alphabetical order. I'm only going to read a little bit. I'm not going to read this, and then we will take off. So this is spring equinox, rebirth. It says the spring equinox, also called the vernal equinox, occurs on March 20th or 21st in the northern hemisphere and September 20th or 21st in the southern hemisphere. This is the point when the sun crosses the plane of the equator, and day and night are the same length across the planet. I'm going to skip a little bit. This card features a rendition of Ostara. Sometimes, let's go down to this little italicized part and read this. So it says, you thought this passage you have been through would never end. Just as certain that the light of the world fades every few months, it makes its return, and the earth rejoices. That's funny, yeah. Sometimes in Michigan, too, we have really, really long winters, so when spring comes, it's like, wait a minute, it's here? It's happening? We aren't going to be in the shadow earth phase, winter mode, which I love very much. Like, there is a spring, there is a sun. And it says, the fresh breath of spring sweeps away the cobwebs acquired from the absence of the light. The light is now obviously increasing as nature begins to emerge in all her many forms, shapes, and colors that remind us of the continual cycles of Mother Earth. I'm going to skip a little bit. It says, sometimes birth can be painful, particularly in the passage just before delivery, yet what emerges can be fresh and beautiful. Be with the emergence of this next cycle with faith and grace. Okay, guys, that is it. I'm going to wrap up today's live stream. Again, our book for next week is Rebirth is my theme for the week and the week ahead spread that I did yesterday. Yay! Well, then maybe this is for you, Danielle. I hope that you have fun with that energy. And also, we are kind of coming towards the southern hemisphere in the spring. Spring area, not quite yet, but it is getting there. So if anybody is in the southern hemisphere, maybe that is ringing a little bit more true for you guys. We're kind of having our end of summer, moving into fall phase. We still have quite a bit of summer left. So us in the northern hemisphere here are kind of on the other end of it. But that's how I shuffle. So that's the best way I can describe it. Sometimes I switch it up, but most of the time it's that way. And just do what feels right for you. Don't force it. Again, always do what feels right. If you just want to throw your cards on the bed or on the table and shuffle around like a 3-year-old, like, that works, okay? It works. Do what feels right. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I love you so much as always. Just to recap, this is our book for next week, and this is the next book we will be going into. It's The Witch's Shield by Christopher Penczak. Our reading selections for next week is the introduction, chapters 1 and chapters 2. You can find this book on Amazon. I know people are having a harder time finding it elsewhere, but you can find it on Amazon. If I remember, I will try to link the Amazon link down below. Also, the 24-hour Tarot-thon on July 29th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I will be a part of it. I hope that you will join in on my live stream. I hope that you will enjoy all the other live streams that are going to be a part of this. I'm so very grateful, fortunate, excited, nervous for this. So your homework for this week is to do something for that live stream, and it's going to be movies through the majors. That's my topic I'm going over. If you missed me talking about it in the beginning, I'm going to be going over the first 22 majors of tarot and associating different movies or characters from movies with each of the cards. So your homework is to kind of think or make a list of the 22 majors and connect different movies that you feel kind of fit the aesthetic or the vibe or the meanings of those cards, so we can talk about it and have fun and just hang out and be kind of like girls at a sleepover or guys at a you could be a guy too, just be people at a sleepover, like talking about these certain things. So thank you all so much. I love you very, very much. I hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful, magical day. Before you go, if you could give this video a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel, I would just be so grateful. All right, everybody have a beautiful day. I'll see you next time. Bye.